Hey YouTube, good morning. Well, it's Friday, and it looks like we're not going to see 69.3 till next week. Elon added another week to his estimate. So I figured I would get out here and do an unmarked roads test this morning. I have not done that test on this version yet, and I'm hearing a lot of great drives on 69.2.3. I had a couple in Orlando with Sid yesterday and the day before. But I figured I'd get out here and do unmarked roads. So let's knock that out. And this drive sometimes begins with a flashing yellow. I know some of you have been asking for a flashing yellow demo. Looks like we're going to get a red arrow at the moment, so it might not happen today. We'll see what happens here. Actually, it might go flashing yellow after. There it goes. Okay, so we are going to see it. So we're flashing yellow, unprotected. It needs to watch the cars coming around this curve. I've gone to full screen view. It's, creeping out, but it's interesting because the range the car can see straight ahead is pretty good, but the cars that it can't see are kind of coming fast around the corner, like this truck right now. Hey, but that was a really good commit, except for the railroad tracks. I can't go over railroad tracks that fast. It was a good commit to get across the intersection. I loved that. It just needed to slow down for the railroad tracks, just like a speed bump. Anyway, so a little good, little bad there. Okay, so here we go on our first stop sign on this unmarked road street I've used before. It is obstructed here to the left, so it does need to creep, and it threw up the creep network good. So that's good. If the creep network feels like it's in a good position, and I'm leaning forward like I always do, and it's clear to the left and the right, and a slow commit across the street, but that's okay. In our first speed bump, it's kind of mixed lighting, and it didn't slow at all for that. Maybe 1 mile an hour just as it was upon it. Stop sign here on the right, a little bit occluded, but it looks like it's marked fine. Let's see if it chooses to use a creep limit here. And it did not put a creep limit here, and it's a little bit more wide open view there. Okay, so right now I feel like I'm kind of driving a little bit in the middle of the street, but there is no oncoming car. Another speed bump. Okay, yeah, it's just not slowing down for those. So I'm gonna hit another snapshot there. And this is the divided intersection, and this time I do have a car on the other side. I do have the creep limit out. So let's see how it chooses to handle it. It needs to kind of get over to the right. It is going a little bit to the right. I do feel it biasing, but that vector kind of wanted to come around. So it basically was letting him go. I have to think about whether or not, it didn't feel awkward. There was plenty of room in the intersection. That wasn't one of the tough ones where I really needed to kind of get over to the edge. And here's the last speed bump. Okay, it took 4 miles an hour off of that one. Okay, so that was round one. I'll probably do 4 rounds like I normally do here. Let's try another one. All right, initializing it right as a car was coming there. It kind of stayed put, didn't start accelerating, kind of like it seems like it likes to do on this road. Just kind of slow down and wait. That time, it gave me a little bit of a slowdown for this speed bump. So interesting, the sun is in my face now. We'll have to see if that happens this whole road here. All right, oncoming car. Oh, he didn't oppose me there. So that wasn't a real good example. But here we have the divided intersection. It does need to creep a little bit more coming from this direction because of this shrub over here. Very low traffic scenarios, and they're going slow speed. So this isn't a difficult intersection. I like the way it's handling it at the moment. All right, now I've kind of got a little bit of a blinding light in my eye. I do have an oncoming car coming. Speed bump that it slowed down to 23, and look what it just did. Wow. Okay. Yep. Okay, so it didn't move over enough there, and that car basically stopped. Like, what are you doing? There's not enough room for us here. So that was if it's gonna stop, it's got to stop over as far to the right as it can. All right, no creep limit here on this wide open intersection. Yep, that was wide open, and the commit is good. This next one is the one where the stop sign is occluded by the oak tree. I can see the stop sign now. I know where it is, but let's see when the car sees it. Speed bump, slowing down, right? Oh my gosh, it's still not there. Still not. Oh, there it is. It just came in, but it was slowing down for it based on map data that time. I felt like it was slowing as if it was there, but it wasn't rendered till the very last second. Now we do have a car coming from the right. It's actually the first cross traffic. That's good. So we got to see a little bit of that. And it waited a little bit behind the creep limit. and came on across. So that was actually a really good use case, because there have been a few drives where it approached that occluded stop sign very fast and didn't stop braking till the last second. That time the car acted like it was there the whole time, even though it wasn't rendered. So I wonder if they changed a bias on the map data versus vision data on the signs there. All right, coming up to our first stop sign, we do have a car on the other side here. This is the one with the occlusion. It needs to kind of put a creep wall and creep a little bit. This stop line does give it a little bit of guidance on where to stop, but interestingly, it's not using a creep. Oh, there it is. It just popped up a little late. Some traffic there. That was good. A nice slow creep, and it stopped at a nice nice speed there. It's wide open now, but it decided to stop one more time. And now we have an opposing car. Oh, look where it stopped. Interesting. Okay. It needs to, wow, it's really, it always kind of turns a little bit towards the car, which is awkward at the last second. It feels like it needs to be turning its wheels away, but it always feels like it's going right into the car. It did not give that car enough room in my mind, and it was actually kind of encroaching them. And here we are again, full stopping right here. Look at that. And it needs to go to the right. Need to go to the right. Okay, there's room for that little car. So that is the behavior it's using right now. It's just stopping and going as far to the right as it think it can. With that little car, that one worked. But with a big pickup truck with large side view mirrors, that would not have worked. It needs to get over further. So, yeah, it feels like the unmarked roads behavior is very, very similar. It's kind of using the stop logic. It's not using all of the road to the right that it possibly has. Interesting, this car to the right stopped on the road. Now he's backing up. Oh, wow, what is he doing? Okay, now okay, I got traffic. He's turning where I'm in a weird spot because he needs to go around. I can go straight. He's got his reverse lights on. The car did it just fine, but that was a weird dynamic scenario. Interesting for the film anyway, to look at. The car did just fine. It wasn't in a perfect spot on the stop line again, but there was enough room for that car that came by. I would have liked to have been further to the right. Okay, let's do one more leg and see what happens. Okay. Last speed bump set of runs, and I'm going to leave my camera up here so we can see the distance to the curb a couple times, because if you look back through this right repeater, you can kind of see what it's visualizing as its drivable space versus what is actually available. Nice slow creep there, that's fine. Right about there it needs to commit, and there it did. Okay. Another speed bump approaching, and a little bit fast for my liking. Okay, we are going to have another car coming up here. Oh, he's turning a little bit, so I guess that one's going away. And we do have traffic coming from the left. It needs to go for it. Don't pause there. Okay, wow. Okay, so that was an interesting one where it committed. It started to pause. That car had to slow down because I was now in the road. But that was one of those few examples you kind of get where when it commits and it stops in the middle of the road, that's the worst spot to stop. It didn't completely stop. Occluded stop sign again, showing up at the last second, but once again, the car was definitely stopped based on map data at that point. I do have a school bus approaching from the left. If it commits, okay, plenty of room, no issues there. And I think that is pretty much what we're going to see today. We saw a few examples of, how it is handling cars not quite getting over to the right. And here we're crossing the railroad crossing, and this right on red scenario has been awkward in the past. I'm going to just hit the snapshot button just so railroads are captured as much as possible. And there it did a nice right on red. I have seen it stop on the other side of the railroad tracks and then continue to roll that right on red where it really needs to come up to the intersection, stop, make its decision to turn right. Yeah, so I guess I would say 69.2.3 on Unmarked Roads is about the same. It still kind of is awkward where it won't go as far to the right on the drivable space as it could, as a human would. It leaves a little bit of human oddities with cars opposing, especially very large cars where there's really just not enough room and they look at you like, what are you doing? I think that there's a little bit of a difference on that one occluded stop sign where it definitely was stopping based off of map data today versus when it was actually being visualized on the screen. That is a change. There were a few versions back where it was going at that intersection at full speed until it popped up on the map. So subtle changes like that are always interesting to watch pop in and out. And then I think that the creeping behavior around those stop signs was pretty good. That one intersection where it kind of committed to the road and then kind of paused, even though there was traffic coming, felt a little uncomfortable. Once I'm in the road, you might as well use your full acceleration to get out of the way of traffic. Anyway, that's it for today. Just a quick one. I wanted to get a Unmarked Roads on this version since we got a little bit more time until .3 drops. You know, once again, a lot of hype on this next version. I really hope it does jump up branches because I know there's a lot of people waiting to get on FSD that are, you know, ahead of the 2022.20 branch that we're on right now. Let's see what happens next week. Have a great day, everybody. Leave some comments below. Cannot go. Cannot go.